What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers need perimeter depth. They need 3-and-D versatile wings. They need guys that can defend out on the perimeter. Lakers offense looks insane. Lakers are probably going to be the best offense in all of basketball, probably by a good margin. And during the regular season, look, I do believe you can kind of get through it. You can beat a lot of teams just by outscoring teams and just being the best offense. But particularly come playoff time, right? I talked about it for years with Rui, right? It all started when we injected Rui into the starting unit. And I was like, yeah, Lakers are 8-0, this is great. But what happens come playoff time when the well dries up offensively and we can't stop anybody? And you saw that happen 2 straight years and really last year too, right? So the offense, I don't care how good your offense is, it's going to dry up at times, right? It's just times where teams just when it rains, it pours. Well, sometimes the rain stops and it really gets dry, right? So you need to be able to kind of have that balance to have your defense and count on your defense to kind of at least slow teams down enough until it starts raining again, right? Until the offense starts picking up here a little bit. Now, obviously, the Lakers are active in trying to get a guy like an Andrew Wiggins. A lot of talk about that. But the price is so insane, right? It's so high. It's like, and look, there's talks and rumors about the Lakers getting DeAnthony Melton. That would be great, but he's more of a guard, right? Point of attack guard. He can defend kind of 1 through 3, but ideally you want him kind of slotted in at defending 1s and 2s more than a 3. But if you can get somebody with some real size, with some real length, right, some versatility on the defensive side of things, right, it'd be nice, obviously, if you can go and pull off a trade, then cool. Pull off a trade for an Andrew Wiggins, go get an Andrew Wiggins. If you can pull off a trade for a Herb Jones, go trade and get a Herb Jones, right? Even a guy like a Terrence Mann, I think would be great to just kind of slot in and defend, again, 1 through 3. But I do think you need some size, some length, some defensive versatility, some athleticism, right? And one of the guys that I really haven't heard a lot about the Lakers, right, that this is just kind of my thoughts, just kind of having a conversation here, that I think the Lakers should look to go sign, and that's Amir Coffey, right? Like, look, you're talking about a guy that's legit 6'7", versatile wing that can defend, 1 through 3, even 4s on some occasions. He's always been just like a good, solid, steady rotation guy. He's never been like that just like, oh man, this guy's a bum, like get him off my team. No, he's a guy that can shoot the basketball, defend, be that defensive presence and stopper. He's a career 38% 3-point guy. So he's a guy that is a legit 3-and-D wing, right? He's not like the sexy name or anything like that, but to have a guy that could be in your rotation, even if you're not starting him, just to have him as a guy that you could plug in and give you some real two-way shooting. I don't know why. I don't know why we haven't actually, I don't know why he doesn't have a roster spot, period. But there's definitely, a team like the Lakers that I think could really use Coffey, right? Like, he has been always really good with a team like the Clippers. He's a guy that, played a role, beautifully for them. And I think could do the same for a team like the Lakers. Just, not moving across the hall anymore, but you get the point, right? And he's a guy that, again, can shoot the basketball, can score the basketball, can be that 3-and-D guy. And you're going to be playing alongside Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. Imagine the quality of looks that he would get. Imagine how wide open he would get. Right? Like, we need a guy that can be that kind of Swiss Army knife, dirty work, two-way type of player, kind of replace a Dorian Finney-Smith type. Amir Coffey, I think, could do that perfectly. Right? I'm actually surprised the Lakers haven't been more linked to Amir Coffey, right? Like, there hasn't really been anything of like, oh, hey, we should, Lakers are interested in signing Amir Coffey. It's like, dude, why not? Right? Like, he's a guy, I mean, obviously it depends on what he wants price-wise, but, teams are starting, like, the well's starting to dry up for teams. So you might be able to get him on a biannual, right? Even if it's just like a one-time thing, like, hey, sign to a prove-it deal, give you player options, so if you want to leave after that, I think he'd be great. I think he's a guy that you could really look at. Like, if you could get DeAnthony Melton, because I still want Melton, right, just for that point of attack 3-and-D guard. But if you could get DeAnthony Melton and like Amir Coffey, it's pretty good. I mean, I'd still like to go trade for a Wiggins or whatever, right? That would be great. But again, to have you can't have too many Amir Coffeys on your roster, right? Just hard working, hard nosed, do the dirty work, hit the open shot, play defense, get after it, dive for a loose ball. Just do a little bit of everything out there, right? He's not a guy you're going to be looking to play, 30, 35 minutes a night. Not a guy I'd even necessarily look to start. But I look at him as a guy that can be that just, again, a guy off the bench, steady rotation piece that solves a major need for the Lakers. Lakers need two-way guys, and Amir Coffey is a legitimate two-way guy. So why not take a look at him? But what does he provide, right? What did he do? Well, first off, he's played with the Clippers his entire career since 2019. Played last year 72 games, started in 13 of them. Played 24.3 minutes per game, got 7.1 field goal attempts per game, shot 47.1% from the field, shot 41% from three-point range on 3.4 attempts. 2-point range, shot 53% on 3.7 attempts. EFG of 57%, shot 89.1% from the free throw line on 1.8 attempts, so basically 2 attempts, grabbed 2.2 rebounds, 1.5 assists, round up to a full steal, half a block, and 9.7 points per game. Like I said, this is a guy that for his career is a career 38.5% three-point shooter. So he's a guy that can knock down the three ball his entire career. You look at kind of some of the seasons. He had multiple seasons where he shot 40%. If he could be, even if he's not 40%, even if he's like 38% on like 3 or 4 attempts a night, and just basically, spot up, catch and shoot 3-point guy, and he shoots 38% from 3 and can play some defense, get after it, be hard-nosed. That's perfect. Right? Again, not everyone has to be a superstar. Not everyone has to be the best player. Not everyone has, you still need rotation and role guys. I also wouldn't, if you told me he was the starter, I wouldn't hate it. Right? But I think, you want a higher upgrade as your starter. I look at Amir Coffey as if he's your rotation wing, if he's the guy that's coming in, for the starter, like an Andrew Wiggins or something like that, probably a good basketball team, probably in really good shape. And that's where I kind of look at, Amir Coffey as that type of player. And again, he's still young enough to be a piece. If it works out, you can keep him long term, right? Again, this is a guy that is 28 years old. It just turned 28, right? So again, he's young enough to be a piece for the next 6 years if it works out, right? You can sign him to a new long-term deal if give him the prove it deal, see how it works. If it works, great. Signing him to a longer-term deal. But I want to go over his per 36. Now, again, keep in mind, per 36 doesn't tell you everything, but it kind of gives you an idea. What would he look like in a starting role, playing heavier minutes? What would his kind of role be? Amir Coffey and 36 minutes would be 14.3 points, 3.3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and half a block per game. And he's, for his career per 36, 13, 4, 2, a steal, and half a block. So, again, kind of right around what he was last season. So, again, he's a guy that I'm surprised there's not more buzz for. Because, again, he's the kind of guy every team could use. You have Amir Coffey on your bench? That's a pretty good, solid role guy. A guy that go give you, 9 to 10 points a night, play some defense, defend 1 through 3, got size, length, athleticism, got basically everything that you want, right? A guy that, understands his role, right? Understands the dirty work, right? And that's what you'd be looking for him to do. We need you to have that. We need you to put in the work. We need you to work hard. You need to, how are you going to stay in this rotation on this team long term, right? Be the guy that's setting the standard, right? Be the guy that's out there diving for loose balls and doing the hustle plays and doing the dirty work and, defending at a high level and, being the swing man and knocking down the open shot with consistency and really just kind of building confidence throughout the course of his team. You're playing alongside guys like Luka and LeBron. You know how good you're going to look? Right? You know the kind of quality of looks that you're going to get and see? You're talking, again, wide open looks. Dorian Finney-Smith last year talked about it. Even said, we had to go and have a meeting because all of us we were rushing our shots, not realizing how long we have to shoot. We could go fix a sandwich, get our hair cut, answer some emails, rizz up the local baddie, you name it. We could do all of that and then go take the shot. And so you start to force and rush shots and do these things, and you're just that's not good, right? So if a guy like Amir Coffey come in, understand hey, you're gonna have some time, right? You're gonna have a role, you're gonna play hard. We need you to be out there, 82 game season, long season, be a rotation guy come playoff time, defend at a high level, right? Look, Lakers got guys. we'll see what happens, with trade on the trade front and so on and so forth. But guys, you imagine Jared Vanderbilt's probably a guy that sticks around. Udero is a guy that you're probably going to need to keep an eye on. I think he's a guy that can potentially make some minutes immediately. Arthur could be a guy that ends up making the main roster two-way for the Lakers and maybe end up getting some spot minutes here and there. Lakers have some guys, but again, you don't have two-way guys. Like Jared Vanderbilt, defense, no offense. Right? Dalton Connect is, offense, no defense. Although he's been working on his defense and all that stuff and been working hard this offseason. So we'll see. We'll see how he kind of progresses. But I think if you're the Lakers, I think you should give Amir Coffey a look. Again, obviously we don't know what the Lakers are working on. For all we know, they're working on multiple trades and multiple moves. There's talks about Cam Whitmore. Lakers go and end up landing a Cam Whitmore and then trading for an Andrew Wiggins. Then it's like, okay, you don't need Amir Coffey no more. But if all else fails, it doesn't hurt to just go get an Amir Coffey for free. Go sign him, bring him in, and now you're in business. So I would. He's a guy that I'd love to see. He's a guy that I think could make some noise for the Lakers. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.